Welcome to Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We have a lot of questions. info@ladiestalkshow.com. Welcome. We are all together in this. We're arm in arm, having an Leah and shalom bayis, meaning a raising up our peace in the home. Okay, go ahead, Gila. What questions you got for me today?
Beautiful. Okay, so Rena's asking, I hold down a steady job and Baruch Hashem bring in a decent parnasa. My husband has this dream for me to become this big career woman, and it just doesn't talk to me. My priority is my family, and a job is something I do to provide for my family. Is it right to follow my husband's dream and pursue a grand career, or do I follow my instinct? Ooh.
That's interesting. So what I understand is that, you know, usually if someone is going after a grand career, it's usually going after, becoming a physical therapist or a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist. It's something their whole childhood and life they've been working towards. So the only thing I can think of that he's wanting for her is maybe in business. In other words, if she wasn't on some kind of quote unquote career track, then how can she jump into a career track midstream, whatever, without think about it? Maybe he wants her to start her own business or something.
It could be that it could be that her job has the potential to exponentially grow. Like, let's say she has a little shop in her house and now he wants her to open up a store.
Oh yeah. Or she's
selling things online. She can buy more things to sell online. There's many ways that you can grow.
You're right. Or she's got a thing if she wants to,
yeah.
or she wants to, she get a raise in her job, she could get promoted, whatever, if she put in overtime hours and whatever. Okay, I'm with you. So interesting. I wonder what's driving him. I would ask your husband, why? Is it money? Is it prestige? Is it that, he wants me to just maximize my potential in that quadrant when I really want to be the best mom ever? I don't want to be known as like the best Amazon salesperson ever or whatever. I think this is very, very important and crucial for you to have a conversation with your husband about what's driving him, what's behind it. You may know already, or you may know and you just didn't share that as part of the question. But if he wants you to do that for superficial reasons, like to show off to the or for money, you're doing fine, but he wants even more money, he wants to upgrade the car, I don't know. Or it's because you guys are living hand to mouth and there's not enough money in the house and he wants you to work more and get become successful that way. So a lot of it would depend on what's driving your husband's pushing. And you said the words, should I follow my instinct or his or whatever? It is kind of like what a husband's desires are. There's a Gemara that we're meant to, give, bring towards our husband what he likes and take away from him things he doesn't like. So if he is, has it in his heart and in his mind or his head or whatever to direct the family where you're working more, it greatly impacts you. So it means you really, 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 really need to take it seriously, but you also have a voice. So how you use that voice is crucial. So if you were to say, no, I don't want to, forget about it. That's not the way to go. If you wanted to do it in a way, but if you were to say, I hear it, what's driving you? This is really, really hard for me. I would much rather, after 120, when I'm on, at my Leviah, God forbid, after 120, I want my kids to say she was the best mother ever. I don't want them to sit there and say she was such a good businesswoman. So I hear you want this. Why do you want it? Are you open to a different way of it going about? I think our goals might be a little bit different here. I'm hoping we can, discuss it and compromise and figure it out so that we can have the same goal. And that would be the gist of that conversation. But the more softness and kindness you do that conversation with, the better it's going to go. Excellent, excellent question. Good luck with it. It's really
great. Okay, so Sarah's asking, everyone I speak to seems to be having this major breakthroughs when they're working on their shalom bayis. I am working so hard and following all your advice, but I just am not seeing these open miracles. Can you please give me some chizuk?
It's very good. So they could
Leah, you're going to tell her that you didn't get a parking ticket. No kidding.
What do you mean? Oh, that you
Yeah.
mean hidden
The
brachas that she
hidden
doesn't
things.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, the hidden things. Right. You were supposed to trip on the sidewalk and break your ankle, and you didn't. That was the
Right.
you just didn't see it. Yeah, that's part of it. But the other part is you've been with me, Gila.
Yeah, exactly.
You heard me once. So that's part of it. But the other aspect of it is that you have um it's kind of like there's certain people who never have the capacity or ability or experience of patting themselves on the back. So you have these people and they do amazing things and they never spend 1 second saying, that was great what I did. They don't even know how to feel that in themselves. And it could be they're raised as childhood and nobody ever approved of them. And it was expected that you got straight A's and it was expected that you cleaned up your dishes. So you weren't even praised for it. So a person never learned how to praise themselves. So that would be the first introspection stop on this journey that I would do for you is look internally at yourself. Are you it's a question of introspection. Are you the kind of person who doesn't pat yourself on the back? And that would be my first guess of what is missing here in your feeling satisfaction in the work that you're putting in. The second aspect of it is there part of you that is blinded to seeing what I mean, Gilly made the joke that, you didn't get a parking ticket. And so it's like, for sure, if you work on shalom bayis, guaranteed by Hashem himself, God himself guarantees bracha will flow into your home. Now, it could be that, as we said, a negative thing doesn't happen. Your car was supposed to break down and it didn't. Okay. So you wouldn't necessarily see that, but it is guaranteed that goodness is coming to you and bracha is coming to you. But the other issue is that you may not even witness it. Let's say your husband every day says, oh, where's my dinner? Where's my dinner? And then you work on shalom bayis and you work on it, work on it, work on it. And you're being such a loving wife or whatever. He comes home and he says, is dinner just about ready? Right? But to your untrained ear, you never got that shift that he would say, where's my dinner? And now he says, is dinner by chance ready? Like that's so subtle and so what you missed it. You didn't even your eyes were blinded to seeing the accomplishment that you made. So it could be those two issues, and it could be something altogether different, which is a inability for you to be able to feel a sense of accomplishment. And the way you can tell this is if you look at other areas of your life. If let's say you did something great, you brought food to a lady up the street who was sick, and for a week you did it, nobody knew, and let's say you dropped it off anonymously. Well, she'd have to know it was kosher, but whatever. You did this huge act of kindness for somebody up the street. Were you able to feel the satisfaction of doing that? If you were, then that's the door to how you should be feeling now. If you weren't, you need to examine that. That was a very, very important thing to look at. But again, a lot of these things that we're working on start with introspection and seeing where you're coming from and what's going on with you before we start pointing our fingers at why it isn't working out there. A lot of things we can solve just by introspection. Very, very good work. Very good. Proud of you.
Great. Gali's asking, oftentimes when I tell my husband about a problem or issue I'm going through, he just offers me solutions. Sometimes I just want sympathy. But at the end of the day, he's a man and can't understand why the solutions don't fix the problem. How do I explain that I just need an ear to listen to me?
You just did it beautifully. Take the question you just asked and hand it to your husband and say, how do I do this? How do I solve that? Okay. So that is basically the key to getting this need met is just sharing it with him, and as honestly, as sweetly as you just did. It's beautiful. Tell him, and he's going to come back, and his reaction may not be what you want, but if you have said it from the heartfelt place you just asked the question, I'm sure you'll get a good response with him. Make time for it. Make sure you both eaten, you're both well fed, you're both rested, and then go for it. It's fantastic.
She could tell her husband that someone else submitted this question.
Yeah.
What do you think of the answer?
Oh, yeah. Huh. Right, there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Shiri's asking, my husband always wants me to buy things, which is sweet, but it's part of the bigger picture of wanting to live a lifestyle we can't afford. I find myself resentful when he buys me things because the other areas of his overspending causes me so much friction. I don't necessarily express this to him, but inside I bubble up and just want to yell, "Stop spending money we don't have." What do I say to him?
Mm. So this gets to the heart of the giver-receiver relationship between the husband and the wife. And we know from the Gemara, from this is the Torah Har Sinai, from that all bracha comes from Shemayim through the husband and to the wife. So him buying you gifts is him giving and you needing to receive. Okay, and the more you receive from him, the more he will give, and the more bracha will come to your husband, and more bracha will come to your home. So to tell you to say, "Oh, stop spending," goes against the grain of this whole dynamic of the husband and the wife. The husband is the giver and the wife is the receiver. But if he's doing it on credit cards, that makes it, and you're going further into debt, that makes it very, very difficult for a wife to receive. So here's your homework. You ready? Your homework is to learn our Shalom Bayis Masorah. You can read Marriage Secrets. Okay, and I get no money from all of these. All my royalties from all my books is donated for marriage education, or 21 Days to an Awesome Marriage. So start learning the Masorah fully. Implement as much as you can of it, getting your needs met, getting appreciation, stop controlling your husband, learn how to communicate in a way that he can hear, treat him with the respect that he deserves. He doesn't have to deserve it. Treat him the respect that you want him to have to be able to be the great man that you want him to be. Do all of the things for the Masorah round the clock as much as you can, okay? And it is guaranteed that the bracha from Shemayim will start pouring into your husband, and he will no longer be buying them on credit card. He will either have the money and earn the money, or the money will come into the home in a way that he can buy them with money instead of buying them on credit or going into debt. And second of all, there'll be plenty. That's guaranteed when you're working on Shalom Bayis. Bracha flows into the house, and Parnas is included in bracha. And then your ability to receive those gifts to him will be wholehearted and full, because he won't be going into debt. So again, that's a huge answer to your problem, but to your issue. But what I'm saying is that on a holistic level, if you are doing all of the things from our Masorah on Shalom Bayis, this issue will solve itself. And is there simpler, fixes that you could do meanwhile, while you're learning the Masorah and while you're trying to implement it and whatever? First of all, Hashem will help you. So, because you're working on Shalom Bayis, and second of all, you can daven to Hashem that he should give you the money to pay for these gifts, that you should continue to receive them. So you never have to say, no, 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 I don't want that. It's too expensive. That he should give you koyach for that, and he should give you parnasa for that, and that you yourself should grow in your wisdom and shalom bayis, so that you can receive those gifts from your husband with a full heart, regardless of where they're holding financially at the moment. Hashem can do anything. And if you receive beautifully from your husband, bracha will come into the home. Good luck with it. It's good. It's a good
Amen.
question.
Amen to all those brachos. Okay.
Yeah.
Leah's asking, I'm in a second marriage and we both have kids from a previous marriage. I work really hard to make our kids feel equally loved and treat his children as my own. I feel my husband's connection to my kids is not the same, and it's very obvious. He showers his own kids with so much love and extra privileges, and it feels as if my kids are invisible to him. How can I make him love my kids more? Well,
Not so easy. So, first of all, I assume you've had conversations with him about this. If you haven't, you need to, and they need to be as soft and warm and yummy as possible. Not wagging your finger, making him feel bad, but saying, I don't know what to do. Sharing your heart. I don't know what to do. I feel like my kids are invisible in there, and whatever. Here are 5 actions that you do for your kids that you don't do for my kids. He may not even see it. You know what I'm saying? But again, if this is done in, you are a bad person, it'll never go, it'll backfire. But if it's done in like, please help me, I'm a damsel in distress, I need your help. The big man has to come to my rescue. If you do it in that way, you'll have some hatzlacha with it. But the other issue is that there are things you can do to ameliorate the situation from your kids' standpoint. So for instance, you could buy gifts from your husband to your children and give them to your husband and say, please give this one loves this kind of lollipop and this one loves this, beautiful Gucci bag. I don't know. It depends on the age, whatever it is, this one, please give these to the kids. I think that'll make them feel closer to you. And he'll be like, what? You're giving me gifts to give to them? And you're like, yeah, I want there to be a bond to develop. And I think this will be good. Don't ever tell them that I'm the one that set you up for it. And I think it'll bring you closer. So two things will happen. One is your kids will like him more. And secondly, when he gives to your kids, he will be more invested in them. But the main thing to start with is for you to have a conversation with him from the heart, soft and sweet, and as non-judgmental and non-demanding as you possibly can. I wish you luck with it. It's a good question.
Okay, amazing. Tasha's question came in saying, my friend got divorced and it seems like she has a better life. I know this sounds terrible, but it's getting me thinking that divorce might be an option for me too. My marriage has always been dull, and even though he's a nice guy, I'm bored in life. I know marriage is the ideal, but what about if the marriage is boring?
Oy, 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 boy, there's so many things to hit about here. I don't know where to start. So first of all, the grass always looks greener on the other side. You're seeing your friend who is like, woohoo, I can come and go as I please. And I can, whatever listen, if she's going to report to you, she's not going to say, oh, getting divorced was the worst thing I ever did. I'm miserable day in and day out. And, whatever. No, of course she's going to say it was the best decision of my life, whatever. That's not that she's lying or not that she's mean. It's just that's how, coping strategy when tragedy hits, So, tragedy for the most part, I would say 80% of divorces don't necessarily need to happen. 20% do. Or I'm making up that number. I really don't know. Maybe it's 10% need to or should. We have a halachas that you can halachas of getting divorced. So it's obvious Hashem wants, has that escape route in the world. But a divorce that happens because the couple wasn't educated enough, didn't know our shalom bayis Surah, didn't know how to communicate with each other. That is a tragedy beyond. They say Hashem sheds tears over such divorces, all divorces, but particularly ones that could have been avoided with education. So for this friend of yours who is saying how wonderful it is or whatever, how great it looks from the outside, it never looks that great. Right, it never is as great as it looks. The grass always looks greener. You don't see that. Her at night. She at about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. She's depression descends upon her. She has trouble sleep. She's up all night, tossing and turning about. I should have said this. I should have done that. You don't know what's going on in people's households. They're certainly not going to share it with you, particularly if they feel badly that they've made bad decisions. They're going to do whatever they can to make everything look perfectly from the outside. So. I would be very, very leery of your judgment that her life is better. That's the first thing. The second thing is the thing about, you said our marriage is kind of boring or whatever. It's kind of like there's that quote, how does it go? She's not only boring, but she's the cause of boredom in others. I was like, my ouch, don't let that be me, But for you, if you're bored, go look in a mirror. Like you have work to do, make your life more exciting, whether that's getting into interesting hobbies, whether that's, being more spontaneous and say, the kids come home from dinner, your husband comes home, there's no dinner on the table. You're like, we're going on a picnic at the ocean, or whatever, you make your life less boring. That's not your husband's responsibility. That's not life does not owe you a entertaining day-to-day life. That's not anything you should be expecting or demanding or feeling deserving of feeling entitled to a not boring life. And if you do feel that you want a more interest in your life, more difference, more color, more colorful life, you make it happen. It's up to you. And getting divorced, believe me, is not the answer. That's a road to disaster. Look, I know a lot of people, oh, get divorced, it's much better, and da 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 da, and they're divorced. And I speak with these women. I speak with them. They're like, they are miserable beyond. Now, is that true across the board? No, there's some that are lucky. I had to get divorced. He was verbally abusive, he was emotionally abusive, or whatever. That's all true. But there are many, many cases where a woman got divorced because she's like, there's got to be something better out there. And there ain't. You better the fool that you know than the fool that you don't know. So it's a lot of work to do, a lot of introspection that needs to be done, but don't think that her life is a big bed of roses. It ain't. And you're much better off working on your own backyard, in your own backyard. Good question. Hatzlacha, Hashem should bench you.
Amen. Yeah, I wish we could do a class on ways to bring the spark back, because if it's just a boring marriage and everything seems fine, there's so many ways to
We have a show, Ladies Talk Show, how to
Yeah.
bring the spark back. We have one.
That's right. Okay, plug.
Plug. No, okay, homework. The homework is one time this week. Everybody, one time this week, make a little journal of things you're grateful to your husband for. It can be 2 things, it can be 10 things, it can be 100 things. Things that you're grateful why you have a husband, that you're not divorced and you have a husband. What are 10 things? 10 is a good number. 10 things that you are grateful to your husband for, that you're grateful that you have a husband for. Okay, it's Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. We'll see you next time.